And welcome back to Native News Today. Jason Salzman here, and thanks once again to Mr. Charlie Lesarge for joining us in studio. Great things happening at the Muskogee Creek Nation Transportation Program. Well, getting into our first feature for this week, we went to OSU in Stillwater talking to some great people over there. You know, I bet you didn't know this, but the director of the Native American Studies program over there at OSU is Muskogee Creek, Mr. John Chaney. And John, actually not John Chaney, the famous Temple basketball coach, but the famous Creek psychology professor. Does a great job there getting natives into psychology with that program there. But he and his wife, Miss Elizabeth Payne, just fantastic people. They have been working for a few years now on an idea to bring a Center for Sovereign Nations to the campus of Oklahoma State University. Sort of a way to just shrink down that communication barrier that can happen between tribes and state universities, things like that, to where they can have a one-stop shop to get things done. So what a fantastic day we had at OSU.
It's just been a dream of both my husband, John Chaney, and myself, and aligned with the President's vision. Provost Sandifer, who you just met, Associate Provost Dr. Fry. We have all been part of something that's much larger than us, and it's been going on for a very long time. This has been a vision of President Hargis. This has been a commitment on behalf of the Native American faculty and staff, and many initiatives have been happening across the OSU campuses, Stillwater, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and of course at Mulgee, that have really come together to allow this collective to take place.
About 4 years ago, I was appointed director of the Center for American Indian Studies at OSU, and part of that mission was to try to understand what the educational, research, and service needs were of the tribes around the state. Elizabeth Payne and I embarked on a statewide, really interview assessment of what the research and education needs were, service needs, partnership potentials were.
We had an opportunity to visit with the leaders of several nations in the state, and they each endorsed the value of having a central point of contact, and certainly that does not mean an only point of contact, but they said the university, especially for one who's not part of the university, can be sort of large and a bit complicated. So if they could just have a guide, basically someone that they knew would answer the phone, who would know who they were, certainly know who their students were, and someone who could connect them to all the great resources that were available on campus. That was something that was really consistently endorsed by all the nations we visited with.
It was really important to me as a member of the Muskogee Nation to make sure that we visited the Muskogee Nation to talk about the proposed ideas that we had here at Oklahoma State. It was really interesting. That's when we met you. So it's sort of a full circle thing for us that you're back here now covering what wound up being one of the primary products of our visit with the tribes. The new Center for Sovereign Nation is a direct result of that assessment or those series of interviews that we did when we first met you.
We're very excited about the new Center for Sovereign Nations, and we do think it reflects our deep commitment to working with the Indian tribes and nations in Oklahoma to help produce more Native American college graduates. That's really what we're trying to do. So we're very excited about this opportunity. I've only been here for about a year, and I was really pleased and really surprised when I got here to see all of the different things that were going on, the work that John Chaney and Elizabeth Payne were doing. But we also have people in nutritional sciences and the Center for Health Sciences in Tulsa and elsewhere on campus that are really working closely with different Native American groups in the state.
As the director of the Center for American Indian Studies and as a psychology professor here, one of the things we were particularly interested in were potential internship opportunities and other sort of social services types of approaches, and it turned into something much larger than that.
We have so many mentors within the state. There are so many best practices to borrow from, and it's our objective to share everything that we might ever figure out, and to also be respectful and be wise enough to ask questions and invite others who've been down this path for quite a while to help show us the way. The employees that work at the center are student leaders, and really they are more than just task doers. We clearly have a vision and a mission, but they participate in developing the strategies as well as executing them, and quite frankly, that's sovereignty, that's leadership, and I am very encouraged at our collective futures when I think that young people like these will be leading us. We're in good hands.